looks like it's going to be a warm morning. Now, I don't know if you're around for yesterday, but yesterday was a warm morning. And if it wasn't for air conditioning, I'd probably be laying in the tub getting cold. Which is my way of cooling down when the ambient air temperature is too hot. When I was younger, I grew up in Southern California. Out in Norco, it got pretty warm, so I was pretty used to hotter weather. But when the weather gets up hot enough, you really have to slow down. You have to take your time. You have to pace yourself to drink more fluids, reduce your activity, don't increase it, and respect the day for what it is. Sometimes people in our society don't do that. We don't respect the day. We don't honor the way that God has given us the weather to maybe change our pace, to rearrange our day, to cause us to look at the day in a different way. Each and every one of us have the ability to respond to God or to ignore God. We can choose to observe the day as the Lord has made and to rejoice, be glad in it by seeing what God has in store for us. Or we can completely ignore the fact that God has made this day and go about our way as though there is no God. And oftentimes that's what a lot of people do. They live their life in such a way that not only do they ignore the fact that there is a God, they live their life as though there is no God until they die. And each and every one of us can do that. You can literally choose one day to pay attention to, listen, hear, respond to, and have a personal relationship with the living God, the God of heaven and earth, the God who created all things, the God of our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of the Father of Jesus, the Lord God Almighty, the one who has said that we are His children and He is our God. You could respond to Him and develop a personal relationship to Him and be prepared for the day. Or you could ignore those facts and live a lie that one day when you die, you'll find out the truth. Now, I don't know about you, I kind of like the idea that I can demonstrate, I can prove, I can live, and I can be an example of what someone who knows there is a God lives like. I can choose to start my day, begin my day, and end my day with my God. Now, I don't know if you actually have a God. I know you have some kind of God because everyone serves somebody. You got to serve somebody. Whether it's the devil or the Lord, or whether it's, the government or your job or people or your own ideals or ideas, your philosophical point of view, you're serving somebody. Even if it's just serving yourself. But you are serving. And it's interesting because that's one of the ways we know there is a God. One of the worst ways, but still, one way. Now the way that I know there is a God, because I get up in the morning and I look over the Wasatch Mountain Range and I see the sunrise. And I know that tomorrow, Lord willing, should nothing happen to me health-wise, nothing happen to me circumstantially, but that if I do find myself in the same place at the same time tomorrow, I'm going to see that sunrise over the Wasatch Mountains. And because I do, I know God is true because He promised that would happen. He said I would be able to see that. He said that those things would be true in my life, that I could meet with Him as long as I can see the sunrise over the Wasatch Mountain Range. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Bless the Lord, all you His angels that excel in strength, that do His commandments, hearkening unto the voice of his word. Bless ye the Lord, all you his hosts, you ministers of his that do his pleasure. I came down from heaven, not to do mine own will, but the will of him that sent me. I delight to do thy will, O my God. Yea, thy law is within my heart. O my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, then thy will be done, and not my will. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified. If you know these things, happy are you if you do them. To him that knoweth to do good and does it not, to him then it is sin. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. The will of the Father was to send his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. And this is the will of God, Jesus said, that God sent his Son into the world not to condemn the world, but that through him the world might be saved. So, whenever you see someone, whenever you hear someone, whenever someone is telling you things that contemn with a T, condemn with a D, or cause you in some way to be distracted or not attracted to God by somehow defining him as hatred or violent or mean or judgmental, or in some way not doing what he has said he has done with his Son, then don't pay attention. Walk away. Go somewhere else and pray. Look and see and look up, for your salvation draweth nigh, and watch and recognize that God, his will be done on earth as it is in heaven, is accomplishing a purpose in your life. He is teaching you an object lesson today that will remind you every day that God isn't per se for us, but we are for his will to be done. We have chosen as Christians to make manifest or to reveal what God is like and to reveal what the will of the Father is. And the will of the Father is pretty simple. You stick with and you go for salvation. When you see someone criticizing someone else, avoid them. When you see someone bad-mouthing the president or some ungodly situation or some situation that you don't like, ignore it. Walk away. God has chosen you to do something different than what the world does, which is to bark and to bite and to tear at each other like dogs. As a matter of fact, the animal kingdom is for this world. And if you're going to act like an animal, then you're going to wind up the same place the animal kingdom will wind up. And that will be destroyed or changed when there's a new heaven and a new earth. Because part of creation does not go into heaven. Dogs don't go to heaven. And Gentiles were often called dogs because of their nature to bark, to bite, to claw, to chew on bones, to do things that were of the nature of dogs. Sadly, that's true about a lot of people in life. And if you're acting like a dog, then you're a Gentile. If you're acting and barking and biting and clawing and chewing on issues and what you think is righteousness, you're not doing the will of the Father. Today, as God has given you sunshine, and as God has given you air to breathe, a life to live, and a choice to make, choose you this day to do the will of the Father, which is not to condemn the world, but that through his Son, and the death of his Son, and the resurrection of his Son, the world might find salvation, not just because of his Son, but because of you.